Have you ever found yourself sitting on the floor, maybe after playing with your grandchild or stretching after a walk, and suddenly realized getting back up isn't quite as easy as it used to be? It's not that you're weak. It's just that what used to feel automatic now takes a bit more planning, maybe a bit more breath. And sometimes, let's be honest, it can feel a little scary. Now, imagine this. You're home alone, you drop your glasses, bend down to pick them up, and decide to kneel for a moment to stretch your back. But when it's time to get back up, your knees aren't cooperating. The couch feels just out of reach. Your heart races a bit. That sense of independence you've always had. For a moment, it wavers. But what if I told you that you can rebuild that confidence without needing fancy equipment, a gym membership, or a personal trainer? In today's video, we're going to talk about something that sounds simple, but carries huge impact. How to feel more confident getting up from the floor, especially if you're over 60 and living alone. I've worked with older adults for many years as a therapist, a movement coach, and, honestly, just as someone who's watched loved ones go through this same challenge. And I want to show you the practical, do-it-today steps to help you move safer, stronger, and with more peace of mind. So let me ask you, have you ever had a moment like the one I just described? If you feel comfortable, share it in the comments. You're not alone. I promise you, someone else out there has felt that same moment of, oh. Let's explore this together. First, let's talk about what's really going on when getting off the floor becomes tricky. It's not about laziness, and it's not always about age. It's a mix of mobility, strength, coordination, and, here's a big one, confidence. You see, when we were kids, we flopped onto the floor and popped back up without thinking. Our joints were looser, our muscles quick to respond. But now, the body has its own rhythm. Knees creak, ankles stiffen, and fear? It whispers in the back of your mind, what if I fall? What if I can't get up? That fear alone can make your body tighten. Muscles brace. Breathing becomes shallow. And suddenly, something that should be manageable becomes a mini crisis. I remember a client of mine. Her name was Margaret. She was 72 and fiercely independent. She lived alone, walked every morning, did her own shopping. But one day, she knelt to plug in her phone charger and couldn't get up easily. No fall, no injury. Just her body saying, not so fast. She panicked, not because she was hurt, but because she didn't know what to do. Her arms felt weak. Her knees wouldn't bend the way she needed. She eventually got up, but she told me afterward, I felt like a turtle flipped on its back. That moment shook her. But we used it, not to scare her, but to build a plan. The first step? Learning a safe and simple way to get up from the floor. Yes, there's a technique. And it's not about strength, it's about strategy. One method I teach is called the rolling recovery. Here's the basic idea. Instead of trying to jump straight up, you roll to your side first. Then you push up into a hands and knees position. From there, you move to a sturdy piece of furniture, a couch, a chair, even a low table, and use it to help you rise one step at a time. It's not about looking graceful. It's about being effective. And here's the key. You have to practice it before you need it. Think of it like a fire drill. You don't wait for a fire to learn how to use the extinguisher. You rehearse when things are calm, so your body and brain remember what to do under pressure. So I always tell people, find a soft rug, have someone nearby the first few times, and practice getting down and up in a controlled, safe way. Another tool? Strengthening the muscles that support the movements. You don't need heavy weights or gym machines. In fact, one of my favorite exercises is the sit to stand. You start seated in a chair, then stand up slowly, no hands if possible, then sit back down. Do that 5 times a day, just 5. You'll be surprised how quickly your legs start cooperating. Now let's talk about a part people often forget, breath. When your breath is shallow, your muscles tense up. Your body goes into fight or flight. But if you learn to breathe slowly as you move, especially during transitions like getting up, you send a message to your nervous system. I'm okay. We're doing this safely. Margaret told me that after a few weeks of practicing these moves, she stopped feeling anxious on the floor. In fact, she started doing her morning stretches down there again. And the last time she dropped her phone under the couch, she got it without a second thought. But here's something you need to know. Never try to help someone up by pulling them forcefully. It might seem kind, but it can cause injury, to you or to them. Instead, if you're helping a friend, offer a sturdy object nearby they can lean on, or support their movement slowly without lifting. Better yet, learn the technique together and practice side by side. That way, it becomes less of a rescue and more of a shared strength. I'll tell you another story. This one's personal. My aunt, well into her 80s, lives alone with a very independent spirit. She slipped on a rug one afternoon and ended up sitting on the floor, unhurt, but startled. She said the worst part wasn't the fall. It was the feeling of not knowing what to do next. So we practiced. Just 10 minutes a day. Floor time became her new routine. At first, she grumbled. "I'm not 30 anymore," she'd say. But then she noticed something amazing. She wasn't just getting up easier. She was sleeping better. Her back hurt less. And maybe most importantly, her confidence came back. That's the part I want you to take with you. This isn't about avoiding the floor. It's about reclaiming it. Because your floor isn't the enemy. It's just another space in your home. A space you should feel safe to move through, sit on, even stretch out and nap if you want to. Now, I know this all might sound simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. If you haven't sat on the floor in a while, the first time might feel awkward. That's okay. You're allowed to laugh at yourself. You're allowed to take it slow. What matters is that you start. And just like that, we've begun building something powerful, your own personal safety net. In the next part of this video, we're going to go deeper into the emotional side of this experience. Why the fear of falling sticks with us. How to build daily micro-habits that support balance and strength. And how to turn your living room into the best training ground you never knew you had. But before we go there, what's your relationship with the floor these days? Do you avoid it? Do you feel confident? Or are you somewhere in between? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. So where were we? Right, your relationship with the floor. Maybe you're still avoiding it. Maybe you're warming up to it. Either way, you're here, which means you're curious. You're ready to shift from fear to freedom, even if it's just one breath, one movement at a time. Let's talk about that fear. I've seen it more times than I can count. Not just in people who've had serious falls, but in folks who've never hit the ground at all. The fear doesn't always come from experience. It often comes from imagination. What if I fall? What if no one's here to help me? What if I can't get up? And here's the tricky part. Those thoughts don't just live in your head. They settle into your body. Your shoulders tense. Your knees stiffen. Even your balance shifts. It becomes a cycle. The fear makes you move less. And moving less makes your muscles weaker, which makes the fear louder. But here's the good news. Fear is like fog. Once you take one step forward, it starts to clear. I had a client, George, who was 76 and had never fallen. But every time we talked about floor work, he'd cross his arms and shake his head. Nope, not going down there. What if I can't get up? So we didn't start on the floor. We started on the couch. Literally. Sitting, scooting, practicing reaching low and standing up with control. Then we worked our way down, to kneeling on cushions, to leaning forward onto a footstool, then finally to one knee on the ground. It took 3 weeks. But one day, he stood up from the floor on his own. And he laughed. Really laughed. "I can't believe I was scared of this," he said. And just like that, the fog lifted. The key wasn't strength. It was familiarity. That's why I encourage what I call floor moments. It doesn't have to be a workout. Just spend time close to the ground. Sit on a cushion while folding laundry. Kneel to pet the dog. Stretch your legs out during your favorite TV show. Let the floor be something your body recognizes, not something your brain dreads. And while you're at it, pay attention to your transitions. How you move from chair to stand. How you bend to tie your shoes. These everyday motions are training in disguise. You don't need a home gym. You already live in one. That countertop you lean on. It's a perfect support for standing leg lifts. The stairs you walk past? Great for slow, mindful stepping. The wall next to your bed? Ideal for balance drills. Your home isn't an obstacle course. It's your greatest ally, if you know how to use it. Now, let's touch on something just as important as movement. Your mindset. Sometimes, it's not the floor that's stopping you. It's the voice in your head saying, "I'm too old for this." Or "This isn't safe anymore." But I want to offer you a new story. Your age isn't the problem. It's your belief about your age. Science shows that people who believe they can maintain their abilities, even in small ways, are far more likely to do just that. Confidence isn't arrogance. It's trust. Trust in your body. Trust in your effort. Trust that you're still capable of adapting, growing, and learning, even now. Especially now. One of the simplest tools I give people is visual rehearsal. Before you even move, close your eyes and imagine it. Picture yourself getting down to one knee. Imagine placing your hand on the chair. See yourself rising slowly. This isn't wishful thinking. It's proven neuroscience. Your brain responds to that mental movie almost as if you did the real thing. You're training without moving a muscle. So even if today isn't a day your knees want to cooperate, you can still practice. You can still prepare. And when your body's ready, it'll feel like second nature, because you've already been there in your mind. Now let's talk balance. Because staying off the floor starts with staying upright. After 60, your inner ear, vision, and joint sensors all begin to dull just a little. But like anything else, they respond to use. Try this. Stand near a counter and lift one foot slightly off the ground. Even 5 seconds is a win. Then try with your eyes closed. Notice how much more your body works. That's balance training. Another one. Brush your teeth, standing on one leg. Sounds silly, but it's sneaky smart. You're anchoring a habit to a habit, and you're giving your body a little daily challenge that adds up over time. Balance, mobility, strength, they're not separate systems. They work together, like parts of an orchestra. And you're the conductor. Now, before we wrap up, let me leave you with something that might surprise you. Learning to get off the floor isn't just about emergencies. It's about freedom. Freedom to garden on your knees without fear. Freedom to sit on a picnic blanket with your grandkids. Freedom to stretch on the carpet after a long walk. Freedom to live without the silent worry of what if. It's also about sending a message to yourself and to others that you're still in charge of your own body, that you can take care of yourself, that you don't have to shrink your world just to feel safe. You don't have to give up the floor. You just have to get reacquainted with it. And no, it doesn't have to happen all at once. Start with what you can do today. Maybe it's one sit to stand. Maybe it's sitting on a cushion instead of a chair. Maybe it's just closing your eyes and picturing yourself moving with ease. Every small action is a vote for the kind of future you want to live in. So here's my gentle challenge to you. What's your next step? Will you try a floor moment this week? Will you share this with a friend who's been avoiding movement out of fear? Or will you take a moment, right now, to breathe deep and tell your body, I'm still here. I'm still capable. If this video helped you rethink your relationship with the floor, pass it along to someone who's still worried about falling, still unsure about their next move, still waiting for a sign that it's okay to begin. Maybe you'll be that sign. And if you've got a story about a time you got stuck or a moment when you triumphed, I'd love to hear it. You never know who you might inspire. Because trust me, the floor isn't where your story ends. For many people, it's exactly where a new kind of strength begins.